All right, special emergency episode.
Yep. Yeah, we were gonna not do one this week just because of scheduling issues here and there.
Scheduling was tight.
Yeah, it was
Ju-
tight for
Um,
sure.
yeah, my mom's in town. Claire was gonna be busy tomorrow, so we were like, let's just skip it. But then it was like, you know what? This news is crazy.
Yeah, there's a
We gotta
lot.
talk about some of this news.
Yeah, yeah,
But
pretty
before
much.
that, what you been up to, Paul?
I'm trying to think if there's anything new worth. Oh, I started Ironheart. I did the first 3 episodes or whatever like last
Yep,
week when
that's
that
where I'm at.
released.
I don't really like
I
it.
I don't like it very much at all, but
Yeah,
I'll see it through.
there's only 3 more episodes. They're kind of long episodes though too. They're like 40, 50 minutes long.
And
Um,
I'll say they feel long too because I don't feel like a whole lot is going on in them.
I
So
kind of don't
yeah,
care about like anything going on.
yeah,
There's a lot of just like weird jumps in rationale that I don't fully like believe or agree. And yeah, I'm not really enjoying it very much.
me neither. But like me,
What
you're
I
gonna see
understand
it
though, it
through.
went through. What I understand though, it went through like development hell. And this
That
it
makes
does
sense.
seem to be kind of the very end of Marvel's initial like, hey, let's just make TV shows out of everything.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think what they even have next coming up for TV wise. There's like the second half of the Daredevil season,
Mm.
which I also understand went through development hell and had to be like rewritten.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then other than that, I can't think. I don't know any other shows. Maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah. I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
I have seen a couple people give their opinions, and none of them have been good, really. I think the best opinion of it I've seen is, yeah, it's fine. I wasn't expecting anything anyways. It's like, okay, that's fair, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like it like pretty much at all. I think the main actress is good.
She's fine. Yeah.
I just think the what's happening and the characters can be boring and yeah, I'm just like I don't know. Like I'll watch the next 3 episodes. There's only 6 episodes. It's an easy watch. I want to get to Squid Game season 3 that just came out, which I also understand is very disappointing. But I've seen
Mm.
the other 2 seasons, so I might as well finish it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, it's a shame, but like at this point, kind of almost expected that it wasn't going to be very good. Especially you saying that like apparently it went through development hell. If I had known that, it's like okay, this is kind of what I expected. Then,
yeah,
yeah. Well,
yeah. I'm looking forward to Peacemaker season 2. That's next month, so that's still a ways
yep,
off.
yep, that's
I
gonna
think
be good.
are there any other shows coming out you're excited for?
Yeah, definitely. There's a bunch of stuff. Let me quickly bring up my app that kind of tracks all this stuff because there's so many that
All right.
always forget here. Were you a fan of Wednesday? I kind of liked that first season, so I'll check
I
that
never watched
second one
it.
out. It was okay.
Is that soon? Okay.
That is, this doesn't say when exactly, I guess, but yes, it is soon. I was a big fan of the Twisted Metal TV series, season 1, so season 2, I have to see what they do with that. That's soonish as well.
Okay. I just
But
watched the recent Captain America again since we're just talking about Anthony Mackie and
yeah,
that's not a very good movie.
yeah, it's super. Even like the day after I watched it, it's super forgettable. There's like nothing that goes on in it really that's important. It's too bad.
Yeah.
I like Anthony Mackie a lot too, so it's too bad that it's kind of a stinker.
Yeah. Okay.
Stranger Things. I need to see that season. That's after though, after Peacemaker.
Okay, so this fall, so that's a little bit of a ways off.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few things.
All right.
Hmm.
I saw F1. I liked that movie quite a bit. I think it's a pretty fun time.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I would recommend it. And I saw it like in like the Dolby Cinema, so it had like the big speakers, so things were like vibrating and stuff when the cars were revving. So that was pretty good. Reminded me a lot of Top Gun Maverick, a movie I like quite a bit.
Does
So,
F1
I
have
would
like the
recommend it.
D-box seats that like move around in the car, like driving, and probably right? That's probably a thing.
Probably. The theater that that's close that I go to, I don't believe it has D box seats anywhere in it.
Gotcha.
So I don't know for sure, but I would have to assume some theaters are doing it for F1. I don't know what else they would be doing it for right now. But,
Yeah.
well, Jurassic World's coming out this weekend. That's probably another D-Box one.
Yeah, I could see that too. That hasn't been
Yeah.
getting some great critical reviews, but that's one I'll probably check out at some point on VOD, on VOD.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. It has the word world in it, and those
Yes.
movies are all...
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're generally so bad they're funny, though, at least. Like, the underground, like, dealers or the black market for, like, the dinosaur stuff or whatever was so fucking funny I couldn't stop
It's
laughing.
extremely stupid. Yeah.
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 We'll see. We'll see.
Yep, I'll probably see that this weekend.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some video games.
Yeah.
Tight schedule this week. This is the top down perspective. It's July 2nd. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
And Paul, what have you been playing?
So I didn't really want to bring it up because it was a segue into like stuff I've been doing, but I've also caught up on the Dune movies this last week. And that put me in the mood to check out that Dune Awakening game that came out semi-recently.
Okay. Did you watch the original one, David Lynch?
I had
Tom McLaughlin?
Funny story. The reason why I didn't watch Dune Part 1 and 2 until now was because I watched Dune when I was much younger, the original, the David Lynch one, and that movie turned me off of Dune and anything with that property so much that I said, fuck everything that has that title. And
Sure.
yeah, listen, if I watched it now, there is surely stuff I would definitely like enjoy about it, especially because I really like Lynch's weird sensibilities and eye for like shots and stuff like that. So there is definitely stuff I would get out of it now. But as a kid, I remember just being like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is awful. So it kind of turned me off a little bit. That being said, Dune Part 1 was good. A lot of build-up.
Oh, wait, you hadn't even seen Part 1 until this last week?
No, I watched both of them back to back.
All right.
So Part 1 was good. A lot of build-up. Well-paced, I think. Like, pretty good. Kind of ends when it feels like things are really beginning. So there's like, all right, sweet, let's go into 2. Like, things have built up now. And 2, like, the stuff that happens in it is great. Like, that's all good. But the thing about 2 is that all of the performance in it are fucking incredible. Like, they do so well in there. I wasn't a big Timothée Chalamet fan, really. Like, he's been fine, but I didn't really see the hype. After watching him in that, I definitely see the hype. He, like, ate up some of those scenes just perfectly. So good.
Okay. Now you got the tattoo on your arm.
Yep. Across my back, there's just a big portrait of
Chalamet.
Chalamet, yeah. Yep. As specifically as Paul Atreides or Mode.
Oh, you didn't get like the Wonka version, or you're just gonna? That's coming later.
I gotta be honest with you. Watching Wonka, I watched Wonka, and it's real hard.
You did that
to,
after
separate
Dune
him.
Part 2 because you were like, let's just keep going. What else has this kid been in? Here we go.
I watched Wonka when it came out, like last year or whatever, or 2 years ago now.
That one you rushed to the theaters. That one you were like, this is an important movie.
Yeah, exactly. No, that one I watched at home as well. But
all right,
it's pretty hard to divorce that face from like that image as well of just being this happy-go-lucky, like magical pixie boy or whatever making chocolate is like, oh, this is a completely different character he's got here.
Right.
Anyways, so those movies got me in the mood. Like, okay, I'm gonna check out Awakening. And Dune Awakening, I think the thing that actually drew me to it is that I heard some people talking about it. And yes, it's an MMO, but the thing that they were saying is that the thing they like about it was the story stuff. Like, there's some good like story content and world building stuff in there as well. And it's actually more of like a lot of single player content for a while, and then the MMO part comes into the like PvP and stuff later on. So I was like, oh, sick. Like, I definitely want to see some of that story stuff. And sure enough, as soon as you boot it up, there's like this cool ass intro of Paul Atreides talking about like having a dream and seeing like a different reality where all this stuff that like happens in the movies didn't happen, and because of that, like the Fremen are now dead and these people have risen up to power and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's this whole alternate reality that you're a part of.
All right.
And it's just like, this is sick. Like, this is awesome. And then there's been a bunch of cutscenes in between some of the stuff that you do. So
you play as Paul?
No, you play just like as a character that's like existing in this world or whatever.
Okay.
And yeah, like all of the story stuff so far has been great. It might be, I think it's held back a little bit for me because of the survival mechanics, which is like what the game.
You could say that about any game that has survival mechanics.
You could, yeah. I'm kind of done with survival mechanics, but I will say that there's enough there with the story stuff that like I'm okay putting up with the survival mechanics to see more of that stuff because they aren't egregious either. You're not like just punching trees and trying to build a fire. You're like you're progressing pretty quickly to get in some cool stuff, which is important as well. The only thing also that you're on a desert planet, so like some of the environments are just boring for a long time until you get to a part that's like cool again. But that thing is pretty neat. If you're a Dune fan, that might be worth checking out because that like story content is actually pretty solid in it. Pretty cool. I need to play more of it.
I previewed this last year at Gamescom, but me just being like a pretty novice when it comes to both survival and MMOs, I was pretty lost for a while, but then eventually they were like, do you want us to unlock everything for you? And I was like, yeah, sure. So then I was flying around on like the bug planes and stuff, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, but the last thing I did last night was I got all the pieces for my bike, like my first vehicle essentially that I have to put together, and I had to
your worm?
My worm, yeah. No, there definitely was a worm, and I ran away promptly because I don't think I can deal with that.
You didn't ride it yet?
Not yet.
That's got to be a thing, right?
Hopefully one day. I hope so. Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't seen like silly gifs online of people like
riding
like a
worms.
whole bunch of people riding worms together and just like hanging out.
Yeah, the MMO part so far has literally just been like the immersion breaking of your on Araxis, and you just see 1,000 little huts because people have to build like a hut to continue the progression or whatever. Okay, and it's just like, this kind of sucks. Like, it kind of sucks seeing just like 100 little huts everywhere.
Okay, I see. All right.
So, but like, I don't see people at all, which is like somebody's building this stuff. So what?
That's called environmental storytelling right there.
Yeah.
And
yeah, maybe it's just because I'm late to it, right? Everybody's like at the end game stuff now. I just started because this came out, what, a month ago now? 3 weeks ago.
They're all just behind the rock having a fun time, all riding their worms.
Yeah,
and they're like, I made a bike, guys. Look at this bike.
They just start laughing from their worms riding off in the sunset.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. That thing's pretty cool, though. I'm excited to play more of it. And then last night, I decided to load up. So I know nothing about Mecha Break going into it. Like, I had seen a little bit of video of it, but I didn't know anything about it. So I started that up because that's on Game Pass, and I was like, okay, let's check this on Game Pass. Out.
And this was one of the weird ones where it's like it doesn't get included in the like what's coming to Game Pass in the next like 2 weeks things, and it just like popped up.
Yeah,
I don't understand how those happen. Like, is there like a tier of deal with the Xbox PR people where if you pay so little, they won't even announce that your game is on the service?
Right.
Like,
probably.
I'm trying to look up some like images or video because I played a mech game when I was at Gamescom, and I think it was this.
It's probably
at
this.
the Xbox booth.
Yeah.
I remember being extremely confused, not exactly sure what to do. But then again, I didn't get to do any kind of tutorial or anything. They just like threw us into a match.
Yeah. So
I did download this. I'm looking forward to actually trying out for real.
So I did do the like prologue tutorial thing or whatever, and it's like a story-based section with a cutscene of like your ship being like attacked or whatever, and you getting into your mech at the last minute and fighting some things or whatever. Like, it's cool. It's really cool. Gameplay is pretty solid. I think it looks great. All checkboxes are being checked. And then I finished the tutorial and all that opening stuff. Puts me into this thing that's just like, okay, now you can play the game. It's like a PvP match-based thing with some PvE stuff as well, and a lot of gacha mechanics that are trying to like force me to buy microtransactions, so I uninstalled it.
Oh, okay. I knew it was like the PvP stuff for sure. I assumed there was like a career mode. And then I didn't know about the gacha either. Like I said, I played like one match.
The first thing that came up is like, check this thing out. It's like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I click on it. Yeah, $48 US. It's like, okay, that's ridiculous. And then I thought like, oh, is this a joke? Like, is this like an in-game like yeah, you like pay their like fake dollars or whatever. So I clicked on it, and no, sure enough, the thing came up that's like, "Are you sure you want to spend $48 US?" So I closed it. I was like, "Nope, I don't." That is crazy.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, so it's a shame because I think the way that game controls is pretty fun. It's really arcadey, almost like an Armored Core, but way more arcadey and fast moving. The combat.
Can't you just ignore the payment stuff and just
that
play the
stuff I
game?
can, but I don't want to play with people. I wanted a single player story thing because there's story stuff going on there about like this virus
no,
that's
like,
taking over mechs or whatever. And so like I was like, oh cool, you built out a world or whatever. Yeah, go do a 6v6. Like, no, that's not what I want at all.
You can't do like a bot match or anything like that.
I'm not sure. I have been told that like you can do some PvE with some buddies. That's kind of like fighting waves of stuff and then fighting a boss or something like that. So like maybe I'll check that out if I can find some people to play with. But I kind of wanted like a real game. I don't know.
All right.
It's yeah. So that was a shame, but that's kind of all I've been doing this last week.
All right, I've been kind of bouncing around. I finished up some of my big stuff last week. I'm kind of waiting for the next things to come. So I've been going back a little bit. It's been a lot of Game Pass, but I want to talk about Crash 4 because that got added to Game Pass.
Okay.
I just cannot get my head around Crash Bandicoot. I just don't think I like Crash Bandicoot.
Okay, that's fair.
I played the trilogy, and I tried, and I kind of dipped my toes into a little bit of each of them.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously those are pretty old games that got remastered, and then this is a brand new one or a more modern one. So, this one, it definitely feels better, but I just think those games feel bad as platformers. Like, I don't like the way the characters move. It's like the worst feeling double jump, like, ever.
Yeah, like a weird momentum to it or something. Because he kind of does like
it doesn't
flip or something.
The problem is it doesn't have a momentum. Like, you'll jump forward, and then when you go to jump again, they jump up. And then when they're at the top of that second jump, you get some air control. So it's not even like a continuous forward. Like, it's just the worst feeling double jump. I hate it.
I don't remember.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, it's on Game Pass, and then this one they added in the like dimension shifting stuff. So there is some like good kind of challenge for like, okay, you need to jump, shift dimensions, then land, jump, shift dimensions, then land. But I just think it feels bad. I just don't think Crash feels good. It does not click with me. So I don't think I'm going to be playing much for. Like, I've given Crash so many chances, and I think it's just not for me.
That's too bad. Oh well.
It's also like the whole premise of this is like, can you find 200 peaches or whatever in this one stage? And it's like, I don't want to do that. What? I don't want to find. Like, make sure you get every box, and it almost comes down to like a puzzle thing of like, okay, here's like a tower of boxes. Some of them are like dynamite ones, some of them are not. You need to figure out like the order of operations on how to bounce on them in order to get every single one. And it's like, but the jumping feels bad. I don't want it. So no, I'm going to spin through these and keep moving on. And then you know what else doesn't help? Everything's like a one-hit kill. You're a one-hit kill. Every enemy's a one-hit kill. So it's just so sometimes it's just like you'll get someone swings at you and then you're dead, and it's like, like this is not helping you, man. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to a game I'm having more fun with. Rematch.
Yeah, I've been meaning to play this.
This got added to Game Pass this week. This apparently is like blowing up on Steam. Like, it's done very well. This is the arcade soccer game from the Sifu developers.
Yeah.
Which was such a weird turn for them, but good for them. And you can kind of see it in the art style as well. I am extraordinarily bad at this compared to the people I'm playing. And then much like your Mecha Break one, it is only online.
Yeah.
So when you play, you do have to play with other people. I understand they are adding bots, like bot matches to it. It seems like this game came out kind of a bit hot for them. And so, in the chat, also known as Fifu, that's pretty good. I do like that. That's a good one. So there's three kind of modes. You can play 3v3, 4v4, or 5v5. And each one they kind of say like, hey, this one's good for practicing position. This one's good for practicing like techniques. This one's good for like blah, blah, blah. I had someone recommend that 4 is like a good sweet spot. And so that's kind of all I've played. And as I kind of think about how the matches would change if there was one more or less person, I do think 4 kind of feels like a really good sweet spot. 3 seems like there would be just so much pressure on you to be like
To
knowing like
perform. Yeah.
exactly the positioning you should do, and like you need to cover like a third of this entire field. And then 5 also seems like there's just way too many people, because sometimes with 4 it's like people are clumping up. I'm really terrible at like when I have the ball, like running with it without it getting taken away like immediately. I need to go back into the
Mm.
tutorials and figure out the like rainbow kick thing or whatever. And like I need to do the tutorials again, because this is a game that it seems like there is a very high skill ceiling, and it comes down to a lot of like button combinations of different things you can do with your feet. And I'm seeing other players like D can like back up and do all these cool things, and I have no idea how to do that. So I typically, when I get the ball, I pretty much just kind of pass it immediately, or I take a shot. And then that is the one knock I'll give it against it. It seems like the way to score every single time is shoot like unlike soccer, this is arcade soccer. There's a wall around the whole thing. So it seems like what everyone's doing is they shoot the ball really hard so that it goes above the goalie. And then when it bounces back towards them, then they just take an easy shot in, because when they do that first shot, the goalie's probably going to dive one direction and then be out of the way, and then you can
Right.
hit it in. Happens almost every single time. Um, which I'm assuming that's not what they want, so I'm wondering if they're going to try and change that up, because if that's the one way to score every time, that's not great for like a sports game, but who
Yeah.
knows. I kind of like the arcadiness of it. But when people quit on you when you're starting to lose, it's like, what is wrong? What do you got going on in your life where this is that important to you? Like, we're not even playing ranked matches. Sure, we're down
Yeah.
2 points and then you quit. Are you kidding me? Like, luckily the
Yeah.
game will try to matchmake depending on how late into the game it is.
Yeah. That's
But
good.
still, just like, if you're playing games and you're in the mindset of, if I'm not winning, I'm not playing this game anymore, you need to get a new hobby.
Yeah,
Like,
probably. Or staying ranked.
maybe just start watching movies, maybe switch to books, because no matter what, you're always making forward progression there. You
Yeah.
can't you can't really watch a movie backwards. Like, it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, like, so that's pretty frustrating when people are doing that, but you know, that's life, I guess. Anyways, Rematch is kind of cool. It's on Game Pass. I don't know if it's on the PlayStation one, but it seems like it's been pretty popular on Steam as well, so maybe check that out.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll bring up is Date Everything. I'm still pretty early on this. I'm going to be playing it for a bit. This is a dating sim where you transform every object in your house into a sexy man or woman and then woo them.
Yeah.
Got 100 voice actors. Like, there's a ton of characters in here. They got a ton of voice acting in it. I know like Ben Starr's in it. He's one of the early ones you come across. He's Dorian. He's the human version of your door. One of
Mm-hmm.
your doors. I think I read that there's several door people. But it is
Makes
pretty much
sense.
anything. Your bed's a person. A magnifying glass is a person. Who did I meet? The vacuum. I met the dryer. I have not met the washer yet, but we have talked about the washer.
Okay. Yeah.
We've talked about the floor, who I've not met yet, but I have met the wall. The
Okay.
lamp dude seems like a piece of shit.
Okay. Sure.
But I am kind of going into this as, well, I'm just going to date every single one of them. I don't care if they're a piece of shit. I just kind of want to see the silly writing. And the writing is pretty funny. It's a lot of kind of like, choose your response to them. And one of them will usually be like, hey, I think we should just kind of be friends, or something around those lines. One of them is like, hey, we should push this further. Do you want to go on a date with me? One is usually like, I have no idea what's happening right now. So
Yeah.
there's some pretty funny writing.
And there's like an affinity
throughout
for
it.
each one too, right? You can get them to love you, like you, or hate you, or something like that. There's like,
Yes. So I think, yeah, I think it's like you have to kind of progress through the like into like the love part and stuff like
yeah.
that. I'm not exactly sure how the hate one works, because like I said, I'm playing it like I'm just trying to like beg everybody.
Mhm.
I'm assuming if I was just mean to them, maybe they would hate me. But I
Yeah, I
actually
think,
understand there are some, like, there's a bunch of different endings and stuff, and so some
yeah.
are unlocked through who's interacting with what.
Yeah.
Um,
It's kind of
there's
cool.
also there's like an overarching plot also happening, and characters can talk to other characters and stuff like that. So there's more than just the talking to the people and whatnot.
It's fully voice
But
acted, right? Like the whole
it
thing.
is fully voiced. Yeah. Yeah.
What was? I had to look it up. Over 70,000 voice lines in that game.
There's a lot. I was like I said, 100 different voice actors,
Yeah.
and they seem like really like proud of their voice actors because when you transform an item into a character and they get introduced, it straight up even says like it in like the kind of glossary who the voice actor is. It's not like just in the credits.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, here's Dorian, voiced by Ben Starr.
Yeah.
So they are very proud of theirs, and I know they've listed off like in like the press release they were kind of pointing out specific voice actors. I wasn't familiar with a lot of them. Erika Ishii is in there, which I'm familiar with her. In fact, she's the sex toy turned into a
Okay.
person.
Yep.
So I found that one as well. And but when I say find, you get these like weird glasses in a mysterious like mail delivery, and the glasses can like shoot beams at items, and you have a certain amount of power each day to like activate people or use one of them to like talk to them again to progress things. And they'll also, as you talk to more and more people and get further in their conversation trees, your stats will increase, and then that'll open up other conversation paths similar to like an RPG or something where it's like if you have 60 poise, you can say this thing, like straight out of Fallout or something like that too. So
Right.
um, if you like visual novels, if you like dating sims, this is a pretty silly one with some pretty funny writing. So I would recommend it. I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah, I've heard good things. This is one I'll check out, especially fully voice acted. Like that alone makes me want to check it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I've been playing. Let's do some news. It's pretty much all bummers this week. That's not
Yeah.
true, but there's some pretty big bummers. Let's start off with Canada.
Oh, right, yeah.
Nintendo is raising the price of a lot of Switch 1 related things.
Right.
This is wild. I can't think of a single moment where I've been keeping, watching the games industry where a new console comes out and then the developer raises the price on the previous generation console.
It's a choice. Yep.
Absolutely crazy. Like, I remember back in the day when they were selling PS2s, like there was a new model of the PS2 out and it was $99 and they were really proud of like look, we got this slim one now, it's $99. Like,
Yeah.
that seems like multiverse, not even like ever, that'll never happen again.
It will definitely never happen again. That's correct. Yep. That's a shame.
This is only happening in Canada at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets spread elsewhere, but amid U.S. trade tension, the quote is due to market conditions. And that's kind of all the details they did give. When it was announced, they didn't say what the price change was. They were just saying it will be going up as of August 1st, which is kind of odd. They're like giving everybody like a warning.
Yeah. Buy now, basically.
Yeah, like if you're thinking of buying something Switch 1 related, like get out there.
Yeah.
There was another post. This came on the Nintendo Switch subreddit, where some of the prices did come up. So the Switch Online membership is going up. Games are going up. The hardware is going up, both OLED and original model. Pretty much kind of everything. Amiibos going up by a little bit. I don't know who's planning to buy a Switch 1 right now. But I guess if you're going to do it right now.
Yeah.
I would have to assume though that there's a lot of people selling their old Switch 1s because they got a Switch 2. So maybe like look around for a used one first.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, this sucks. Like
it does.
I mean, every other console manufacturer was raising their prices. It's just kind of extra odd because Nintendo just put out a new one and then raised the price of the old one. They have said the Switch 2's price is remaining the same as of this announcement.
Yeah, that might change.
I was gonna say, if I was betting, that will change.
Me too.
But
I would assume so.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. While we're talking about Nintendo, Donkey Kong Bonanza previews came out this week. Um, and a lot of previews. But one of the kind of interesting fun facts that was also revealed is that they said the development team is the same one who worked on Odyssey.
That makes a lot of sense. Yep.
It does, and I previewed this game. I already thought it was great. This gets me even more excited because I love Odyssey.
Same. I love Odyssey. It's one of my
There's
favorites.
also, there's a lot of design similarities in terms of kind of a more open environment that you can play around in and stuff like that. But it is also just weird that Nintendo is oddly secretive about which teams within them are working on which games.
Yeah.
And journalists have to kind of like do some sleuthing or asking about it. So that is the news story here, that it is the Odyssey team. And that makes me more excited for later this month.
Totally. Yeah. Odyssey's great.
All right, let's talk about the big news. This happened today. So this was actually kind of preempted a little bit earlier. There was some news coming that Microsoft was going to be having some layoffs.
Okay.
And I think we even talked about it last week, that we didn't know like how much it was coming. Yeah, we did talk about that. We didn't know how much was coming or why there wasn't even an announcement. It happened this morning. Over 9,000 people within Microsoft got laid off today.
Yeah.
Which is just like, what a crazy number.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. I was kind of mostly following Jason Schreier, obviously, because he looks at this very closely. But so again, this is Microsoft as a whole, but it did significantly touch Xbox for sure. And we'll kind of break down what's going on with Xbox and more in the game side, obviously. One of the big ones is that Rare got hit pretty hard. And Everwild, that they had been working on for the last few years, which we hadn't heard about for a little bit, has been canceled.
Right. Yeah, I actually forgot about this game, to be honest with you, until like this announcement.
Yeah, so I mean, Rare still has Sea of Thieves going, and I'm sure that was helping out, but I guess not enough. Let's see what other studios were hit. The other big one, this was reported over at Windows Central, is that The Initiative has been closed, and they were working on Perfect Dark, which has now been canceled.
Yeah. This makes a little sense why, like, I was expecting to see some Perfect Dark stuff at, I was going to say Key 3, but the Summer Games Fest stuff. And, like, now seeing this, it's like, oh, maybe the writing was on the wall back then, and they were just like, well, maybe we still, like, I wonder how long ago, like, some of these people knew, because it seemed weird that they wouldn't show Perfect Dark and then kind of cancel it just a month later.
It sounds like the majority, and this is just kind of people spitballing on Blue Sky again. People like Jason Schreier, people like Steven Totillo were saying this was like a surprise to many of them. A lot of them were just like losing Slack access before they had even been told.
Oh no, I meant like the people that make decisions. They probably had like these ideas for a while now, I would assume. It's just shitty that it comes out this way.
One of the other canceled projects was ZeniMax Online was doing a new MMO, which was codenamed Blackbird. It hadn't been announced yet, but this was meant to succeed the Elder Scrolls Online. That has now been canceled as well.
Gotcha.
I understand Turn 10 has lost about half their staff, the team working on Forza.
Wow. That's super surprising. Forza is one of those like keystone things when you think of Microsoft too. Jesus.
And then just another point is, I'll just quote the Variety story here. A source close to the situation has told Variety that every game featured at Xbox Game Showcase presentation in June is continuing on. So I guess if you did see a trailer for it in last month, those games haven't been canceled yet. But yeah, like you said, we didn't see Perfect Dark, that was canceled. We didn't see Everwild, that was canceled.
I don't have my list. I feel there was a few things I was expecting to see from Microsoft that I didn't, and I was a little worried about. Because now I'm thinking, Gears of War still has to be happening, right? But we didn't see anything or hear anything about that.
E-Day? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Reloaded comes out next month.
Yeah.
I would hope that would help the studio, get a bit more cash, but
I want
that's
E-Day,
the other
man.
thing. And, the thing that kind of underlines a lot about this is, at the same time, within the same press release, Microsoft's quoted as Xbox saying like, "Never done better. We're doing great. We're engagement time and profits are up, which is pretty rough to hear when you just laid off so many people.
Yeah, fuck. Like, part of me wonders how much of that is that they're trying to keep stockholders from pulling out fully. It's like, no, we're doing fine, right?
You have to remember, these stockholders do not care. They just want to hear the good thing and that the numbers are going up.
Right, which is why I'm thinking, like, maybe they're not doing well, but they can't really say it because they'll do worse if they admit it. It'll be way worse. Who knows?
I go through more of this article. Looks like King, under Activision Blizzard King, Candy Crush developers, they lost about 10% of their staff, which is about 200 people.
That's hard. Yep.
And then it's just saying, Raven, Sledgehammer, the Call of Duty studios, as well as Halo studios, they also lost people. I'm sure everyone lost some people.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to see if there's any like hard numbers tied to any of these.
I'm sure there will be. This, like you said, this is still breaking consistently here right now, so.
Yeah, the timing also sucks. Like right before a big holiday weekend here in the States.
Yeah.
So a lot of people going into their 4th of July weekend without a job.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm sure we will hear more fallout about this next week. I'm sure Schreier has been talking to people nonstop the whole day. I'm looking forward to hear to read his big article in a week or two where he pulls the curtain back a bit for us.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not sleeping tonight. It is crunch time for Jason Schreier right now.
I mean, and we're better for it. Like that reporting is invaluable. Absolutely. This is just so heartbreaking. That number is staggering. Like, after all the numbers we're still hearing, it's like there were still this many people with jobs. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. Does any place say like how much of a percent of Microsoft that is? I'm just curious how big internally they actually even are. Is that like?
Yeah. So, I had seen it, but I'm trying to find it because a lot of the stories I was pulling were focused more on the Xbox side.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the percentage.
Yeah, because they lost people in like
I understand.
every division.
From what I remember, though, it was a pretty small percent because it just seems like there's an infinite number of people working at Microsoft.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, so 9,000 was 4%.
Yeah, okay. It seems about right. I was expecting less than 10%, but like that's still smaller than I was expecting, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a ton of people who work. Hey, Microsoft owns a lot of companies now, right?
Yeah. So we didn't see anything about Fable. Does that mean Fable's gone too? Probably.
Didn't hear anything about Fable.
Fuck.
From what I remember hearing, though, I thought Turn 10 was actually helping out with Fable.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure Fable is impacted, but I have not heard whether it is safe or not.
Yeah.
I guess that also wasn't shown in June.
Yeah, I'm just worried now about all these things that I wanted to see and didn't. I'm just like, oh, fuck, is it dead? No.
Yeah. And my heart goes out to these people who are going to be job hunting in a scary market for sure.
Yeah, this is...
Hey, I'm sure AI will come save the day for Microsoft, right? All hands on deck with AI.
Well, it'll save some people, but not the people that we care about.
Yeah. All right. Tangentially related, job shifting. Naughty Dog, I guess technically Neil Druckmann put out a statement. Neil Druckmann, one of the creative directors and studio heads of Naughty Dog, has said he is stepping away from working on the Last of Us TV show. While now that season 2 is done, and before season 3 production, or I guess the quote is before any meaningful work starts on season 3, to focus primarily on Naughty Dog, including like Intergalactic. They're currently their upcoming title.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sure.
Yep, definitely makes sense. We'll see how that impacts the show or not. I wasn't a huge fan of season 2, so
Same.
I'm kind of just like less interested in this show now, but we'll see what happens moving forward. It was nice that the show had such a strong connection to the game. You usually want to see that.
Yep.
We'll see what happens from there.
Yeah.
All right, last little story here. This was kind of just an interesting one that was pointed out to me. Dave the Diver director addresses the controversial Best Indie Game nomination from 2023 over at the Game Awards. So a lot
Right.
of people were wondering, why is this nominated for Best Indie Game? Isn't this developed by Nexon? Isn't this getting like published by Nexon? Um, so they kind of talked a little bit about that, and I thought this was pretty interesting. Basically, it came down to they didn't even know they were nominated because
Sure.
they don't submit their games to these categories. And from what I had understood, and then reemphasized here, is that the Game Awards kind of has a jury of about over 100 different media outlets,
Mm-hmm.
and they're the ones who submit the games for each category as long as it hits a criteria about like, did it come out by at least this date, and that's like really the only criteria.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
So if you're wondering why Dave the Diver got put there, it's because a bunch of game journalists said that it's a really good indie game.
Sure. I think most people in the know already kind of assumed that, but it's good that they came out and just were like, "Hey, we didn't submit our game. Like, that's not our fault or whatever."
Yeah, and it does make you wonder, like, yo, some of these game journalists, they got to do a bit more research. You can't just see like, oh, it's got pixel art. All right, that's obviously an indie game. It's a small studio. Yep, perfect. Let's put it in that category.
It's pretty dumb. It's pretty dumb. But there's enough of them that did it that it got nominated. It's not just one.
That's
that
the
did
thing.
it.
Yeah, like enough of them pointed it out. And I really like Dave the Diver, but like,
it's great.
Do some research, like double check your work. That's part of being a journalist. That's how you do your job.
Totally. Yeah, I agree.
All right. That's it for news. Let's do some questions. topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP podcast on Blue Sky, the Discord channel, or Claire's P.O. Box. Are all great ways to send questions in. You could sound like Dad, who writes, there's a two-parter here. How often do you like traveling by yourself versus people you know versus people you don't know? Also, Sean, what's the name of the traveler app you use? So I can quickly answer that second one. Hostel World, you need to be staying in a hostel. I think you even need to have booked through Hostel World. But they kind of own like the Google SEO for searching for hostel in whatever city. So I usually book through them. It's not like it costs more or anything like that. And then they add you into like group chats automatically for the city while you're there. And that's a great way to talk to people and collect other travelers together. I find tons of people that way. So Hostel World.
That's cool. Yeah.
Okay, but first part of the question, do you have much of an answer for this, Paul?
I hate traveling, but I will never travel by myself if I can help it. I've had to do it for work, and I don't like it. So
you're people you know.
Yeah, people I know.
Okay. I love traveling. Solo travel is great, and again, if you're a social person, if you use these apps, it's a great way to meet very like-minded people. And I've made friends. I've met them again. In fact, I'm hanging out with somebody on Saturday who I met in Berlin a couple months ago, who's going to be in the Bay Area, and we're going to hang out. So that's the dream right there for me. So a lot of the time it is solo. Traveling with people I know is probably the next highest one. Whether it's like a significant other. I don't think I've really done much of like a friend travel unless it's a pretty like short, like with, down to LA or going to a music festival or something like that. But in terms of like international stuff, haven't done a ton of like friend group travels. And traveling with people I don't know, I'm trying to think what scenario would that be? Like, because even like a work trip, like I know the people there. I don't know if I've done any like meeting up with people I don't know and then traveling with them. That's an odd one.
Seems niche, like a really niche thing.
Yeah, maybe like I'm trying to think, maybe like a church group or something, or like maybe a school kind of thing, maybe. So I have very little familiarity with that one.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Jacko304 writes, I got into video games relatively late compared to the peers of my same age, and as a result, some of the generally accepted and common mechanics of most games just never occurred to me. Probably seriously hampered my enjoyment of certain games while just starting out. Things like pressing up on the D-pad to enter a door in a 2D side-scroller, or waiting until the apex of your jump to double jump to maximize your vertical distance. What are some other common video game things that, unless told outright to you, wouldn't occur to someone new to the medium?
Maybe like clicking the sticks in. I don't think anyone who's
This
not
is a
familiar
good
with the
one.
controller knows that's even like an option. And it doesn't even like feel great to do a lot of the time. Like it
Yeah.
almost doesn't feel like a button. It could almost feel like, oh, is it supposed to do that? Or is it just like a weird mechanical thing and it's that click is not a good sound?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because just last week, my girlfriend, who doesn't play very many games and like much less like 3D things or whatever, like actiony things, I had told click in the right stick to like auto target something like in a 3D space, right? And it was just like, this is something that if you've been playing games in the last 10 years, you probably just do automatically with this sort of game style. But that is not something you would necessarily just think to do, is click in the stick to like lock on to an enemy. Seems a little out there.
Yeah. Or duck or melee or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
I think a big one is, a big one is learning to use both sticks at the same time.
Yeah.
That's like a huge hump that like new people need to get into. And then part of that is also learning like you're only like tapping the sticks. It's pretty rare you're ever just like holding them all the way down for a significant length of time. And I even see that with like really casual stuff like Mario Kart or racing games, is you're just like feathering that thing back and forth.
Yeah.
Where some people are like, every kind of turn, I'm holding it the whole way.
Reefing it, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also holding down, this is like for some games that maybe were like made on a PC and then transferred over to a console. Holding down right or left trigger so that the face buttons do a different thing than if you're not holding it down, like modifying it. So if you have like 4 spells set to your face buttons, and then if you hold down right trigger, those 4 spells are 4 new spells or whatever. That could be a little weird.
I even think a lot of the times if it's like a shooter, like knowing that left trigger will zoom in.
Sure, yeah.
As opposed to just, because the reticle is there, you could just shoot it, but like you're not supposed to really shoot from the hip that often, unless it's like maybe like a shotgun where it doesn't matter accuracy as much.
Sure, yeah. What about like wall jumping in certain platformers? Just like this, getting used to like going against a wall for a second so that you connect with it and then jumping off of it on the opposite side.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would also argue that even that's not great just across the board, because every game does it a little different. It's like, do you need to like, do you connect to the wall? Can you, is that a slide? Is there, do you need to push away from the wall and jump? Do you need to push towards the wall and jump? Like what? So that's even like one that like the industry hasn't like locked down how it'll work exactly and stuff. All right. Hebrew Lantern writes, what's your favorite fairy tale?
Oh, I'm trying to think of some fairy tales in general that I can pull from.
I do like that, like a lot of the ones that, even like kind of like the Disney ones that come from a fairy tale, they're typically like darker than you'd expect. Like Alice in Wonderland is actually very dark, but everyone just kind of knows the Happy-Go-Lucky movie that they watched.
Sure, yeah, that's true. Hansel and Gretel was always kind of fun. I like that one.
Well, that's why you liked the gritty reboot with Jeremy Renner and...
Forgot all about it, but yes, you're right. Yeah. That was the thing. Yep. Yeah.
There was a lot of like gritty reboots one, because there was Snow White and the Huntsman, and then its sequel, The Huntsman.
I did watch the first one, not the sequel though.
I'm also first one, did not watch the sequel.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have like Jack and the Beanstalk is another one I remember, was like, I kind of liked the idea of like the cloud castle and the giant or whatever. It was cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I don't
don't
think I
know.
have just kind of a straightforward answer of like a fairy tale that like really sticks out to me. I'm trying to think maybe something from like Fables, but
Yeah,
my knowledge of Fables is not very extensive outside of the Telltale game. Um, what's up with Fables 2, man? Or Wolf Among Us 2? Is that thing
they
real?
they didn't
That thing
show
still
that
happening?
either. That was on my list. Come on.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not like Xbox specific, so who
No,
knows,
it
right?
isn't. Yeah. I hope it's still a thing. Rasterman7 writes, with all these layoffs, do you think Microsoft is planning to kill Xbox? I don't see that at
I
all.
don't. No, I don't see. I mean, they're coming out with the ROG Xbox Ally later this fall. They've said like every month they say, once again, we're doing a new console, and a handful of journalists are like, "Hey, did you know that Microsoft's doing a new console?" And it's like you got to pay more attention. Yeah, no, I don't think they're trying to kill Xbox. Things would have to go pretty bad from a
Yeah.
like financial and like player engagement standpoint, for
Yeah.
Xbox to just. And even so, I think kill and not make a console are two different things as well.
Totally.
I
They're
would
not
sooner
killing the
see them go
brand.
the way of Sega
Yeah.
before just like getting rid of that brand. And then Sega's still here.
Totally. Atari's still here, for Christ's sakes. Not like great, but that still exists.
Sure.
So
Yeah. Yep. True.
yeah,
True.
I don't think they're planning on killing Xbox. Just everything associated with it to make sure Xbox still thrives.
Again, remember those layoffs today were across Microsoft. It was not
Yeah.
just Xbox. We just probably heard primarily about the Xbox because this is a video game show and we follow video game news. And this is not a like Outlook podcast or a Microsoft Word podcast where we talk about everyone working on all the new features of Microsoft Word.
Well, I mean, totally. Like, there's probably some copywriters or some legal like people also that they let go, like people that we wouldn't think about. I'm sure a lot of
Absolutely.
people were cut. Yeah.
Stay tuned for the TDP Plus where we talk about Microsoft Office each week.
That
And
that would be
all of our new
interesting.
favorite features.
Trying to pull a docket for that would be interesting, to say the least.
I don't know. That would be crazy. What
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like okay, one to one, what would the played section be? Like what have you been doing in Office this week?
Like Excel
Yeah,
and
like okay,
Outlook.
I made a really cool graph. Like it's just like a new feature I found in OneNote. And the
Yeah.
news would be like, yeah, like new announcements surrounding. Oh, guess what? They're coming to iOS.
Yeah.
There's now a native Excel app on iOS. Can't wait to test that out.
Did you see how they
And
changed teams? They put everything on one list, and now you have to check the unread chat or channel depending on what you want. Great. That's actually bullshit, by the way. That fucked up our workflow so bad.
I was about to say, like, this is clearly speaking from experience.
That's a thing
'Cause I
that
don't use
happened.
Teams, and my experience with Teams is everybody talking shit about Teams.
It's awful. So, like, just as a quick thing, they had like channels that you could do or whatever,
Don't even
like
get them started. Here we go.
like Slack or whatever, right? Like channels that you could like add people to, put files, whatever. And then they had like chats. They put them all on one list that you have to like click a specific button to see either or rather than having them both in two different spots. Like, why? Why would they do that? It's fucking awful. Anyways, Teams is terrible.
And then obviously we would have a question segment where people would write in all their thoughts and questions about Office, which we would address.
Yeah.
We would help people.
It's just an IT show basically at this point, specifically for Office.
There has to be a podcast about that. There's a podcast
I'm sure there
about
is.
everything.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Okay, last question. Phantom Aegis, what is your favorite OST that comes from a TV show?
Severance is up
Man.
there. That the music in that is very good.
Really?
I love the
Okay.
music. It's just
Yeah, that one-
weird and like
that one-
ominous in some spots and weirdly chipper in some others.
Okay.
The intro
Yeah,
to
I don't know if
Peacemaker
I
is
really
great.
have much of an answer for this.
What are some other soundtracks now for TV? Yeah, I don't know. TV shows usually their soundtracks are usually just like ambience to whatever's happening.
Yeah, I mean, more genre stuff will definitely have more of a soundtrack, but I don't think
Yeah.
I'm like staying there long enough or it's like sticking out to me as much. Surprisingly though, like a movie soundtrack will, but I don't know what it is about TV. Andor had a pretty cool soundtrack, but even then, like I couldn't like pull out much of a much highlights or anything. Yeah, I don't have a great answer for this one.
Stranger Things is pretty good because it has like 80s music, but also
Okay.
that theme song is pretty iconic in its own right.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking theme songs, I can call out some theme songs that I liked a lot. And then yeah, the Stranger Things one is pretty good for sure. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for questions this week. If you want to send in questions for next week, it's topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP podcast on Blue Sky, the Discord channel, or Claire's P.O. Box. Paul, what's your game of the week?
I'll give it to Dune Awakening.
And I'm going to give it to Rematch.
Makes sense.
Thank you, everybody, for listening or watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye.